And welcome everyone to another video. And this video is a bit more kind of a rant in a way, and also just me wanting to try and defend the product, I guess you could say. If you haven't known, or if you aren't aware, I'm going to take this out of my ear so I can hear myself better. I don't know why I have to cut that in. But if you haven't heard by now, there's a Halloween video game coming out. They're aiming for next year. I'm assuming if it is next year, it'll be towards the fall, September, October, around that time. More appropriate time for that kind of film, or that video game to be put out. And it's an asymmetrical horror game in the vein of Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yada, yada, yada. And some people are giving it a bad rep already, just even though it's just been announced over the last couple of days, because it's being financed by Gun Media, who was the developer and the people who released the Friday the 13th video game in 2017. And they're giving this Halloween game a bad rap because Gun quit updating that game and they abandoned it and allowed it to die off, and now it's a defunct game. Only the offline bot single-player mode is available. But that wasn't Gun's fault. That was the fault of the fact that there was a lawsuit that was filed in like 2018. It was just bad timing to put that game out because about a year after it came out, the lawsuit happened. And Victor Miller and Cunningham couldn't come to terms on who owned what and what was what and which is what and what, when, where, and why. And now we know that they both have their own sole rights to it. Miller has the rights to the screenplay for the first film. Cunningham has the rights to other things. And this is why we now have the Jason Universe thing going on. And it resulted in the death of the Friday the 13th, the video game, unfortunately. And I think it may have also affected the Killer Puzzle game spinoff of Friday the 13th. Because that game is also no longer available. But as for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think the problem with that game was the fact that they only had the rights, the IP rights to the first film, so they couldn't expand much on it outside of what characters were in the first film and what events took place within the first film. They couldn't do much outside of that because they didn't have rights for the whole franchise. As messy as that franchise is, I'm not a big fan of that franchise, to be honest. I've played the game, but I'm not a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Just not my type of slasher film. But I respect it for what it is. But this game for Halloween is the charge is being led by Elphonic. Now, I'm not too familiar with the games that they've put out, but I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that this game will be in a much better position than it was for Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially with having John Carpenter on board as an executive producer and a creative consultant, and his desire to have the franchise be strong again, since he's very disappointed with a lot of the later sequels and the remakes of within the franchise. And also having Nick Castle come back doing the mocap for Michael Myers. He played him full-time, well, mostly full-time, like 90% of them in the first film. He had a cameo as him in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, and he had a cameo not as Michael Myers in Halloween Ends, but as like a party goer at the bar. And now he's playing Michael again for the video game. They've also got Kane Hodder involved in some capacity. I don't think he's playing Michael. He's doing something else, but he's also doing motion capture for it. As you know, he was Jason in 4 of the Friday the 13th films. He did motion capture Jason for the game, and he also did motion capture for Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. And all I'm seeing online primarily is people hating on it already just because the name Gun Media is attached to it. But this is not their game. They are financing it and helping get it released. But the game is being led by Elphonic. And I really hate that people are just seeing the name Gun Media and are saying no. When for years, Halloween fans have wanted a Michael Myers video game not just him appearing in Dead by Daylight or that one thing on Call of Duty or things like that. And really, the only game we have of Michael Myers was the game for the Atari back in the 80s. It was a game, a low quality game made for the Atari. I think it was 1983. And if you find a copy of that game these days, it's like finding the Holy Grail. They're so rare to find. And the only thing that has to do with that game and the movie is the name of the game, the music in the game, and the fact that it's about a killer killing a babysitter in a house. As good as it can be for an early 80s Atari game. There was also a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game for the Atari, I believe. It was also a similar quality. And Friday the 13th had a Nintendo game. But we have not had an official Halloween game since the Atari in 1983. This is the first game, not counting that game that released like a year or so ago alongside that Evil Dead game. Because they did say that they were putting out 2 Halloween games, that one and the one that was just announced. It's a symmetrical horror game for Halloween. It will have both online multiplayer like Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but this also has a single player story mode, which I think is great. Because Friday the 13th, the game had a single player mode, but it was for you to play as Jason or as a counselor against an online bot. It wasn't a story mode. It was just a little online bot a little single player offline bot you could play as. This is a single player offline story mode, which is fantastic because here's the thing. I like games that are story mode. I like games that are online because I like playing with friends, and I like playing games that are single player story mode because I like playing a game that has a good story to tell. And I'm interested in this. I really am. I've also been wanting a properly good made Halloween game, and this seems to be the answer to my prayers. And the fact that I'm not a Debbie Downer, and I'm going to give Ilphonic the benefit of the doubt with this game coming out. And because I fully understand that they're leading this game, the production of this game, Gun Media is only involved in the sense of them being the financiers for the game and helping get it released. But they're just there as a partner. They don't have any major involvement in this game being developed other than paying for it to be made and get put out. But Ilphonic is the one behind the studio, and they're the one putting the script writers and the animators and this and that involved. But everyone's just bashing it because of Friday the 13th and Gun Media, forgetting the fact that, as I've said already, Friday the 13th was just a bad series of misfortunes because of the lawsuit that crippled it and ultimately led to its death. That lawsuit, much like it did with the film franchise, killed Jason Voorhees in a video game sense. Although I hear now the franchise is getting revived, not just with that TV series coming out, but there's supposed to be a new movie coming out and another video game coming out. So now that the lawsuit has more or less been resolved, that should make anything coming out now much easier to handle. Along with that short film that just came out too. I forget what it's called. I'm going to look it up because I really want to see if I can do a reaction to it, if I can get this thing to behave properly. But let me know what you all think down below about this. Are you excited? Are you like me and you're giving the Ilphonic the benefit of the doubt with this game, knowing that Gun Media is only minimally involved in the game, not majorly involved? Or are you just one of those people online that see Gun Media and you're immediately like, blech, without taking any context into it? Let me know down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.